Ovuhnda's hands, calloused from tending his yam and cassava patches under the relentless river sun, were usually his pride. They fed him, clothed him, and connected him to the earth he knew. But now, as he watched Adeze walk past the dusty village square, a different kind of yearning bloomed in his chest. A yearning that his hard-working hands couldn't fulfill. Adeze had arrived with the last Harmattan winds, a breath of fresh air transferred from the city for her 6-month industrial training at the newly established health center. Her beauty was like the vibrant plumage of a rare bird in their quiet village, her skin the color of rich earth after a rain, her eyes bright and intelligent, and her laughter, when it occasionally graced their ears, like the tinkling of tiny bells. Adaze's arrival was like a vibrant cloth unfurling in a room of familiar browns and greens. Her city clothes, though simple, held a certain elegance. Her hair was always neatly styled, a stark contrast to the more practical, often braided or tied styles of the village women. She carried an air of quiet confidence, a knowledge that extended beyond the familiar paths of their community. Ovuhnda, in his faded singlet and worn-out trousers, felt a pang of inadequacy every time he saw her. He'd offer a respectful "Ndanu," "How are you?" whenever their paths crossed, and she would always respond with a cheerful smile and a polite greeting in Igbo, her accent carrying the lilt of the city. She was friendly, approachable, yet held a certain distance, a polite wall that Ovuhnda couldn't seem to breach. Ovuhnda found himself noticing details he'd previously overlooked. The way the sunlight caught the gold flecks in Adaze's eyes when she smiled, the gentle sway of her hips as she walked with a purposeful stride towards the health center, the crisp, clean scent that sometimes wafted from her as she passed. He was captivated, a feeling so intense it sometimes felt like a physical ache in his chest. He was smitten. He'd find excuses to linger near the health center, hoping for a glimpse of her. He'd imagined strolling hand in hand with her through his farm, the setting sun casting long shadows, their laughter echoing through the quiet fields. Unbeknownst to him, Adeze's city sensibilities did notice him. She saw the genuine kindness in his eyes, his respectful demeanor, and in her own way, perhaps unknowingly, she started to influence him. One day, noticing his perpetually dusty sandals, she casually mentioned, "Ovuhnda, your feet would thank you for a good wash, and perhaps some sturdy slippers." Another time, she commented on the neatness of the health center grounds, compared to the slight disarray of his own compound. These small remarks, dropped like seeds, began to sprout. Ovuhnda, fueled by his admiration, started to pay more attention to himself. He washed his clothes more diligently, trimmed his hair, and even saved up to buy a pair of decent slippers from the market. His friend, Chikam, chuckled, "Ovuhnda, are you expecting a visitor from the government house?" But Ovuhnda just smiled, a secret hope blossoming within him. Ovuhnda's transformation was gradual but noticeable. He started spending more time by the stream, ensuring his skin was clean. He bartered for a second pair of trousers at the market, ones without holes. He even attempted to style his hair differently, much to the amusement of his friends. They teased him relentlessly, calling him city boy, but they also noticed a newfound confidence in him. His attempts to bridge the gap between them often fell short. He tried to engage her in conversations about city life, piecing together information from snippets she'd shared. But his questions often felt clumsy, his understanding limited. Adeze would answer patiently, but her eyes held a hint of polite disinterest. He even tried to refine his speech, listening intently to how Adaeze articulated her words. The local dialect, thick and familiar, now felt a little rough on his tongue when he imagined speaking to her. He'd offer her the first of his ripe mangoes, the sweetest kernels of his roasted corn. She would accept with a gracious smile, thanking him profusely, but her eyes held no hint of romantic interest. "You are very kind, Ovuhnda," she'd say, her tone gentle but firm. "But my focus here is my training." To Adaeze, Ovuhnda represented the life she was temporarily a part of, a life she respected but didn't envision for herself. His clothes, though clean, were simple. His home, though well kept, lacked the modern conveniences she was accustomed to. His dreams, as far as she could gather, were rooted in the land, in the familiar daily life of the village. Her own aspirations stretched beyond the horizon, towards a career, towards independence, towards a life she would build for herself in the city. The 6 moons of Adaeze's stay seemed to fly by for everyone else, but dragged for Ovuhnda. He lived in a constant state of hopeful anticipation, each of her friendly gestures misinterpreted by his yearning heart. He dreamt of her often, one afternoon finding himself jolted awake under the shade of the mango tree in his compound, a vivid image of her laughing face still lingering in his mind. His friends, Nsirim and Chikam, had come to share palm wine, their boisterous laughter shattering his reverie. Then came the news he had been dreading. Adaeze's training was coming to an end. A quiet despair settled over Ovuhnda. He knew, deep down, that his efforts had been in vain, but a sliver of hope still flickered. The day before her departure, Adaeze came to his compound. He was mending his fishing net, his hands clumsy with a heavy heart. "Ovuhnda," she said softly, her voice carrying a hint of farewell. "I'm leaving tomorrow. I wanted to thank you for your kindness during my stay." He looked up, his eyes pleading. "Adaeze," he began, his voice thick with emotion. "Please don't go. Stay here. Let me take care of you. I love you." Tears welled in his eyes, blurring her gentle face. He reached for her hand, his calloused fingers trembling. Adaeze's expression softened, but her resolve remained. She gently disengaged her hand. "Ovuhnda," she said, her voice filled with a genuine warmth, but devoid of romantic inclination. "You are a good man. You have been kind and respectful. I appreciate everything. But my life is in the city. My dreams are there." He tried to argue, to plead, his voice cracking with unshed tears. But Adaeze remained firm, yet compassionate. She wished him well, a sincere smile gracing her lips one last time, before she turned and walked away, her figure receding down the dusty path. Ovuhnda watched her go, the reality of his unrequited love hitting him with the force of a physical blow. He sank to the ground, the rough earth mirroring the ache in his chest. His friends, sensing his pain, sat beside him in silence. The village felt quieter after Adaeze left. The vibrant bird had flown. Ovuhnda went back to his farm, his hands finding solace in the familiar rhythm of work. The sting of heartbreak lingered, but slowly, a different kind of understanding began to dawn. He had learned to care for himself, to speak with more confidence, to see the value in small improvements. He had reached for a star that was not meant for him, and in doing so, he had discovered a new shine within himself. The lesson was a hard one, etched in the lines of his palm, alongside the calluses of his labor. Not every seed you plant will blossom, and not every desire, no matter how fiercely felt, will bear fruit. But the effort of tending the soil, of striving for growth, was never truly wasted. It changed the gardener, even if the desired bloom never appeared.